Diabetes management is an ever-changing landscape, and joining me now to discuss this further, Kos Sclavos, health strategist from Synapse. Thanks for your time. What are some of those resources, and in particular, what would you like people to take away? Say three key messages that you'd like people to take away.
Well, I think the first thing is to do an audit of their pharmacy, and by that I mean is you audit, education of the staff, an audit of the resources, the physical resources. So the best way I explain, my daughter's just graduated pharmacy. She's an intern this year in my own pharmacy, and I'm saying, look, if a patient came up to you and said, my device isn't working, could you get that addressed? Do you know who to ring? Do you know where the rep's phone numbers are? Or do you know online, the quick checks that you can do to make sure that the device is working okay? Because consumers you can get a device anywhere, a testing device, blood glucose device anywhere. The research strongly shows that consumers want to get that device off someone they can trust, who'll set up the unit for them, who they can bring the data back, perhaps upload the data, because they don't, a lot of our users are not computer savvy. But the modern device has, and for example, some of the reporting tools on the 360 tool that they can use from Roche is just ready-made for a consumer to use. It's easy to explain, but you've got to embrace the category. I would, as probably the number one theme, is allocate someone in the team. It doesn't have to be the boss, it doesn't have to be the manager. Allocate someone to do the process, like the audit, the resources check, make them the champion in the pharmacy, give them the extra training, and then highlight that in the pharmacy. Make sure you've got the sign up that says, Julie is our diabetes trainer or our diabetes expert. There's a lot of resources available, but I think the key lesson from a consumer perspective is that they want to know, is this pharmacy a place of excellence? Will I get the best advice here for my diabetes condition?
So I think this is a huge opportunity, and that's where the business case is. My role today is to talk about the business case, and obviously the second arm of self-monitoring, and it always has been the cornerstone of diabetes management, yet from day to day, it's a stunning figure that if we see here that whether we're talking about diabetes type 1 or 2, the low rate of testing. Like, as pharmacists, I don't know if you've ever read some of these studies, does that surprise many of you with knowing your patient cohort that there would be such fasting or post, you can see there the percent still 26% or 62%, so the numbers are very poor. And of interest, the NDSS, if you're at any meeting with the NDSS, they will say that 50% of those registered with the scheme do not test. I'll just say it one more time. I'm happy to go on the record because that's from the NDSS. 50% of patients on the scheme do not test. So it's a huge opportunity for us in pharmacy. Even if we're looking at business case, if they're not testing, what an opportunity there for pharmacy to provide a full service and help these patients to get back on track. So obviously from a pharmacy point of view, there are a lot of changes. Some very important ones, I'll flag some of those, but most importantly, give you an insight as to perhaps what the government's thinking was. So you saw that 24th of May agreement with the Minister, and it was great, and people saw that. It took a lot of in our sector by surprise, and especially those clauses that I've highlighted for you, and again, it's well known in terms of the wholesalers playing a role in moving it away. So the next couple of issues before I hand over to Donna is just, again, big picture is the pharmacy services and resources. So today I want you to leave when I come back on at the end is to see what are the government funded services. Pharmacists have actually dropped the ball on diabetes meds checks. You're fatigued. You came along to APP expecting you've said, oh, meds checks, HMRs, I'm bored with all that stuff. Give me some new stuff. You like attention deficit disorder, you kids. Now you've got all these services, the money is available, you should be doing those, but some pharmacies, and ones that I analyse and look at the data for, have reduced their services over the last 12 months. So there's a lot of opportunities still left on the table on the existing, I'm not talking about any new programs, existing government programs. You've got tremendous industry support, downloadable program support that our friends at Roche and other manufacturers can give you. You should highlight that, and Donna will give you some specific examples. We've got private programs through Guildcare, the Guilds company, and we've obviously got other lifestyle choices that from NPS through to other services you have in your pharmacies, and without completely stealing Donna's thunder. Some of the additional services you'll see that she's implemented also give that an opportunity. But I'm a big advocate for there's got to be a return on investment, guys. So whether you're doing a day screening program or a full-time service, or you're adding on a specialised staff member, all these wonderful things that we saw from our finalists in the Pharmacy of the Year, please do an ROI. Because the days of generics or the dispensing, cross-subsidising the rest of the business are gone. You know, the margins are becoming too tight. You need to have staff that know what they're doing. And you saw from all the winners or the finalists this year in the Pharmacy of the Year, if a person comes in and says, my device isn't working, fix it, or can you address it, you need to have someone on at all times. If your pharmacy is open 90 hours, they need to, you can't say, I'll leave it here, Mrs. Smith, and I'll get one of our staff to ring you Monday. This is a person, if they're doing testing daily, they want an answer there and then. And to be honest, most patients, even if it's Saturday afternoon at 4, they expect the answer at 4:05.
I guess the key lesson for pharmacists is bring your staff up to speed. There's a lot of resources. For example, there's a Roche training module that's free that we're really promoting here at APP. Importantly for the team is to do a cost analysis, a return on investment. Like the key message for pharmacists here at this conference is times are tough. So do the analysis, and whichever way you do the analytics. Yesterday I presented data that showed these patients, diabetic patients, are high net worth individuals. The pharmacist dispense 3 times more prescriptions for a diabetic patient on average than any other patient. So, you know, in terms of, you know, looking after your regulars, as we use, you know, the old term, there's no more regular person in a pharmacy than a diabetic patient.